and welcome to another evening of frank conversation here on Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. In a few days, barring any last-minute hitches, President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be sworn in as the 16th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The last couple of days in the Buhari administration have been filled with lots of activities, ranging from commissioning of projects such as the second Niger Bridge, which has now been named after him, the local Oweto Bridge, amongst others. Last-minute meetings with the Federal Executive Council, which the President is asked to work till its last day in office, and which has also awarded a good number of contracts worth a significant sum in its last days. Now, while some have argued that government is a continuum, and there are others who feel that the Buhari administration should have been round enough and passing notes to the transition committee, not awarding fresh contracts. The fact is that whatever side of the divide you stand on, the new president to be inaugurated on Monday isn't coming to a tea party. He has his work cut out for him. With the central bank benchmark interest rates now at 18.5%, an inflation rate that's running away with the wind, unemployment at an all-time high, bandits running riots in some parts of the country, and a country whose cracks of division seem to be getting wider. What should some of the top priority for this government be upon its assumption of office? Senator Adeyeye, a former spokesperson for the Senate and a former member of cabinet, is my guest tonight on Hard Copy. Senator, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a giddy last couple of days for some members of your political party. Preparations are now in top gear for inauguration on Monday. I'm just wondering, what side of the divide do you stand on with regards to ministers working till the very last day in office?
I think I'm in support of the idea. The president was elected for full 4 years during his second term. And that will end in the midnight of May 28th. Of course, there is no abridgment. It should be, the ministers should work to the very last minute. The president will still be in office till the new president is sworn in. So technically, all his aides, his ministers, his other appointees should remain in office. We should not imagine that if you are elected for a number of days, maybe you have to cut it short by 1 week or 2 days or 3 days. No, there could be no vacuum. So they should continue to work until the new president is sworn in. I have nothing against that, and I'm actually in support of it.
Well, oftentimes, I don't think that people really quarrel with the idea of them working. Well, I think people just always have this idea, or see it in their head, like, I'm using the analogy of a road. Maybe there is a really long road, and government or governance can be like a really lengthy road where you can never finish. But at least you should be able to mark a point where you say, okay, this is where we're going to be rounding off, and then we'll hand over to the next government. Not that at that point where you're supposed to be rounding off, then is when you're saying, we're going to be commissioning new contracts for the continuation of the road. Some people think that there is a problem with that sort of thinking.
Yeah, but the issue of awarding new contracts, that may be a little bit controversial, really, because one would have expected that, okay, for the incoming administration, maybe they are also thinking that, okay, the president will be sworn in on May 29, but he's unlikely to appoint his ministers for quite some time, maybe at least he has 60 days within which to appoint ministers, and he may not actually appoint ministers for the next 40 or 50 days. So are we going to be in a vacuum? Maybe that's why some of them decided to award contracts. These contracts are subject to review by the new government. They are going to be reviewed, I'm sure of that. They are going to be re-examined, and adjustments could be made here and there. But government cannot be in a vacuum, and actually I don't want people to make too much out of this, because first and foremost, it's the same party handing over to a new government by the same party. And then whatever anybody is doing right now is subject to review. And that in the interest of continuity, in the interest of serving the people of Nigeria without giving gap, I think I do not have so serious objection to that.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting couple of days to see. But let me quickly take you up on this idea of 40 to 50 days, which you mentioned. The president-elect might not be appointing ministers for up to 40 to 50 days. Do you really think he has that much time?
I'm not. I just mentioned that the Constitution. You know, there's a recent constitutional amendment that mandates anybody, the president and even the governors, to constitute their cabinet within 60 days of being sworn in. Prior to that, there was a lacuna. The Constitution never provided that the president must, within a period of time, constitute his cabinet. And we had a situation in which, during President Buhari's first term, for 6 solid months, he did not constitute his cabinet. He was even saying he was going to be using
it was unprecedented.
It was unprecedented. Quite all right. But even before him, too, in the eras of Jonathan or Obasanjo, we had situations in which some of the presidents allowed a gap of about 40 days before they constituted their cabinets. I expect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to hit the ground running. I expect that he doesn't have the luxury of such a time, and he might constitute his cabinet within a very short time, maybe 2-3 weeks after being sworn in.
So let me take you up on that swearing in. For a number of people, they believe that the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, could face a crisis of legitimacy, given that there are still matters in court. Yes, there still matters in court, and that there is a very large opposition. If you put all of the parties together that did not, or the people who did not vote for him, they certainly make up a very, very large number. How do you think that he's going to be able to contend with that?
I think he's going to be able to contend with that effectively. Number one, I recognize that his opposition to his election, but Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was elected as president of Nigeria in a very free and fair election. To me, the best election in the history of this country. And I say it without any fear of contradiction whatsoever. I have participated in elections in this country since 1979, and I have been a keen observer of our electoral practices, our electoral processes. And I will say that the elections of this year that produced Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu have been the very best in the history of this country. People decided, even before the election, that they were going to make a noise out of it, they were going to cause trouble, they were going to delegitimize it. Otherwise, even before the conclusion of the processes, we had started having people crying and saying the election has been rigged, it is this, it is that.
So now...
But as far as we are concerned, and as far as any reasonable observer is concerned, who is not partisan, who is not biased, this is a very fair election. And to the extent that the election was free and fair and met the electoral and constitutional provisions, I think there should be no fear of legitimacy surrounding Asiwaju Bola Ahmed's tenure whatsoever. He was duly elected in a free and fair contest, and he got votes throughout the length and breadth of Nigeria, apart from one particular region that did not give 25%. Don't forget that he had 25% in about 31 states. 25%.
It is interesting that you say that these are the best elections.
Yeah, it is.
I've also heard one of the major contenders against Bola Ahmed Tinubu use the word that this is the worst elections that have ever been conducted.
Yes.
And I want to think that for a number of people, they'll say the truth is somewhere in the middle.
The truth is not in the middle, it's on our side.
If you say this is the best elections,
it is the best.
The person says these are the worst elections, by what parameters would you say that these are the best elections that have been conducted?
Okay, number one, the introduction of technology ensured that malpractices, manipulations were curtailed to the barest minimum.
But they still happened.
It happened, but to the barest minimum. It is the least. We had the least occurrence of such manipulations in this election. If you compare even this election with the one of 2019, the police came. I mean, in terms of manipulation, this is the least, because the law says where there is violence or manipulation or overvoting, you cancel the vote. And so there is clear repercussion for you if you try to load your vote.
I think for the Nigerian public,
yes,
part of what technology helped them see is just how brazen politicians can be. in terms of even trying to change results from polling units, results that people saw at their polling unit, and when it was put on the IRF, they could see that what was on the from the polling unit and what was pasted on the IRF were two different results.
What is the process of the election? You go there, you are accredited by Beavers, and you are given a ballot paper and you cast your vote. And then, of course, if you are an agent of the party, you wait around to the end of the process so that the votes are counted, and then the result sheets are filled, and then it is uploaded to the IRF by the presiding officer is supposed to take a picture of it. But I think even if the agent of each of the political parties are in a position to take the pictures of the result sheets themselves, in this age and time, when you have the sophisticated phones that we now use, you can take the results and you can upload it and send it to your own party's collation situation room or whatever. So the IRF people are making it as if it's something special. No, it's not better than your phone.
So that's the thing.
Now, the thing is this. In the case of the presidential election, those who allege that because the thing was not uploaded in the IRF, therefore the election was not free and fair, they are not saying the truth. In fact, they just try to play on the intelligence of the public, because each of these political parties had agents in the polling units. They fill the form, their agents sign the form, they had copies. The agents will take the picture of the copies. If you are a serious political party, all you need to do is to collect the result from all your agents and you tabulate your own result. Even before INEC will announce its own, and you can know your result. And then see whether there is any discrepancy between that result and what INEC is eventually announcing.
Do you suppose that this is why the cries of foul
they
have been
they
very
are not
loud?
able to prove that. That's not the reason. They are just crying without evidence. They are crying without facts, and they are in the tribunal. You will see the result. You will see it in the tribunal.
Normally, when a country comes out of an election, and this is not peculiar to Nigeria, you find out that people are usually deeply divided because elections oftentimes are all or nothing for politicians. There's only one slot, and it's either you take it or you don't, and the supporters either way will be feeling sore. So I'm wondering, how do you think, when you look at our country and how deeply divided it is, not just along political lines now, along ethnic lines? You've talked about how the Southeast, for instance, your party didn't get a lot of votes there. So how do you think that, for instance, you'll be able to make them feel like they're still a part of the government that the APC will be setting up on the 29th of May? How big a priority do you think this task of nation building should be for the president-elect when he's sworn in?
It's the number one priority, to bring everybody together, to foster unity. Because without unity, you can't even have peace. And without peace, you can't think of development. So unity, peace, development. That's how it goes. We need to bring everybody together. All hands must be on deck. We must all have the same agenda, and that agenda should be peace and security and development of Nigeria. Nobody should be left behind. And one of the ways that the president-elect can begin to do that is to continue to give the assurance, which he has done, not to neglect any area of the country. No area will be favored, neither will any area be neglected. He has been elected as president of Nigeria. Whether you voted for him or you did not vote for him should not be the case. The issue is that he must go beyond do his best to bring everybody on board, to reassure every part of Nigeria that he is their president and he will be fair to all of them.
What do you think he should be doing? I think that's the key question.
Number one, the Constitution of Nigeria has even made it compulsory that no area of the country can be neglected from the government. You have to appoint ministers from every state of Nigeria. And I think that is a wise thing that we are able to do with our Constitution. So he is going to have people from all over the country. And in terms of developmental projects, he will prove, and I'm sure I can assure you, I'm sure Tinubu, within a short time, Nigeria will see it, that projects, developmental activities will be spread around the whole country without any discrimination against any section of the country, whether they are supported him in the election or not. That is democracy anyway. Not everybody can vote for you. But then you are still mandated to govern everybody and to be fair to everybody. So that's the principle of democracy. It does not matter at all. So the bitterness of the moment, I believe, will disappear over time, within some months, it will disappear as people begin to see that this government is a government that is genuinely committed to developing this country for the good of all Nigerians.
Senator, let me take you up on the issue of the National Assembly, the leadership of the 10th National Assembly, which is already brewing a lot of divisions within members that have been re-elected. Even those that are not even coming back are already taking sides. But amongst those that are coming back, it does appear that it's going to be a really heated one. We witnessed just this week the back and forth between the Speaker and his deputy, who have had a pretty robust relationship up until the Deputy Speaker decided to run for speakership in the upcoming 10th Assembly. Would you say that your party has been fair in terms of how it has distributed offices for the National Assembly positions?
Well, I believe the party has been very fair. The Southwest has the presidency, the Northeast has the vice presidency. So South, the president of the Senate, Northwest, the speakership, then deputy speaker, Southeast, and Northwest again, deputy Senate president. That's the way it has been distributed. Now, you cannot, the area that I see that hasn't got, that some people argue has no position for now, is the North Central. But North Central, don't forget, as the national chairman of APC. It's a very important position. To tell you that the position is very, very important, our national chairman resigned as a senator to become national chairman of the party. So it's a very important position, and that already is in the North Central. So everywhere is balanced. We have to maintain balance in the country. So every area has something to hang on to. So, and I believe that when the other key executive positions will come in, some areas that maybe have not gotten the most important ones, they will probably be more considered in terms of those positions going to them. I'm talking of positions like that of SGF, national security, and a lot of other things. So I think I am in support of the national leadership of the party with the Sonia arrangement they have come up with. So and I believe majority of party members, the rank and file around the whole country, are in support of it.
The question for a number of people is, why microzone? Why do you have to say, oh, it has to be these individuals from these particular zones? Why?
I think it's to avoid chaos. A party needs to be well organized and to avoid disruptions and disunity.
What kind of chaos?
Because if you leave it too open, you could have, for the position of speaker, maybe 15 candidates emerging from the Northwest. And then it could lead to a lot of acrimony. And you know, the worst part of it is that you can't ban or you prevent other candidates from also coming out from other regions where the position has not been sown to. So what do you have? You find people in the Northwest dividing themselves, and you may find the speaker just emerging from a zone that you do not desire to have it. So it's better to microzone it the way they have done it, to allow for less tension.
Your party continues to maintain that this is a recommendation, but for a number of people, they say this is dictatorship, and they think that what you have now asked your own lawmakers to do, and perhaps maybe be lobbying other people to do, is to endorse the decisions of your own party. And for
it is very democratic. I can assure you.
Do you think that there is no democracy there?
There is democracy there. There is very democracy. Look, these things are done in every democracy. That is why we have a political party anyway. A political party is to organize and say, okay, this is what should go to this area, and this is what the person in that area, this is the person to have it. That is the duty of a political party. We will be blaming the party if they have not taken these actions. People would have said that the party is not organized, they have created chaos, they have allowed everybody to go their own way, and now we have this kind of chaos. So I believe that they have done the right thing. They have sown it to particular areas, and they have micro-sown, they have actually chosen those they want for the positions. And don't forget, the party did not reach this decision without consultation.
Let me take you up on the issue of security. We do know that, yes, initially when the Buhari administration came in, the question of Boko Haram was a very big one, was a big issue for everyone. But right now, we do know that the amount of conflicts that we've had in-house, we've had quite a significant increase in the number of internally displaced persons who currently live in camps. The economy is not doing so well. We see that the CBN has had to increase monetary policy rates by as much as 50 basis points. We've seen conversations around fuel subsidy, whether or not it will stay, whether or not it will go. And the issues are a lot. Cost of living is going up on a daily basis. The naira is losing value. And people are wondering, how do you think, or where do you think that the president-elect should start from when he eventually takes office? What are some of the key decisions that you would like to see him take to signal to the economy that indeed things need to pick up?
All these problems will have to be tackled on headlong simultaneously. The security issue, the economic issue, because they go hand in hand. Some parts of Nigeria today, people cannot go to the farms because if they do, they will be kidnapped by bandits who are all over the place. So you need to tackle the problem of security so that people can go about their daily duties without any fear, without any molestation, without any fear that they will be kidnapped or their economic activity will be disrupted. So, and I believe the president-elect has thought very hard on these issues. And I believe within a short time after being sworn in, you will see him rolling out a lot of policies concerning the area of security. Because without security, you can't do very much. A lot of people who want to invest in Nigeria are afraid, particularly in the area of agriculture. They are afraid that, or even in the area of mineral resources, developing solid minerals. They are very afraid because of kidnapping and the activities of bandits. So we have to tackle the problem of security so as to free up people to go about their daily duties, to shore up the economy. And then on the issue of the economy, well, inflation has to be tackled. It is very important, but you can't tackle inflation if you don't increase production and the ability to distribute it effectively around the whole country. That is very, very important. So again, we must, key element in tackling inflation is to begin local production of most things. We give glory to God. Dangote refinery is coming on stream now. It will solve a lot of problems in the petroleum sector. So that the importation that is causing a lot of problems, even fueling the inflation, that will be a problem that we can easily solve with Dangote refinery coming on stream, other government refineries being refurbished now. And then if you allow these modular refineries to also come on stream and some other people to build their own, I think we can stop importation. And if you stop importation, there will be less pressure on your foreign exchange, because we spend a lot of dollars to import these things. That pressure will be reduced, and you can use it for other things. And then we now need to tackle key areas where we must also stop importation. And I believe these are the areas that we go into, and within 2-3 years, Nigeria will see very great results. That will be a paradigm shift as far as the economy of Nigeria is concerned.
How confident are you, given concerns that people also have about the president's state of health?
I am not concerned about his state of health because I know him. People worry themselves a lot. I think Nigerians should have the fear of God. The health of a man is in the hand of God. Me and you are talking right now. God forbid, one of us could be going down the step there and drop dead. It can happen. And we have seen it happen in many cases. I saw a lot of people who said Buhari will not last three months when he came into office. Buhari is concluding his tenure now, and he appears to be in very fine health. Actually, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in good health. Every person, when you are advancing in age, you will have health challenges. Biden is over 80-something. He has health challenges. Americans are not making too much noise out of it.
Do you think that we have a right to know?
You have a right. You have a right to know. Yeah. You have a right to know.
Do we have a right to know about the state of?
Oh yes, you have a right to know. But the president-elect is not exhibiting any symptoms of a sick person. He is quite mentally alert. He's physically alert. He campaigned more than any of the other aspirants, or the other candidates in the last campaigns, presidential campaign. He worked harder than any of them, and people still talk about his health challenges. So I want to assure Nigerians that they are having a president who is mentally and physically alert and capable and ready to serve.
Senator Adeyeye, thank you for coming on Hard Copy.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's the program tonight. Your feedback and messages are welcome to the handles on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogun Yusuf. Good night.